Well, Jim, we're sitting here a couple of weeks after the season's finished. I know last year quarter down for a free reflection of what's just gone. Now maybe a more in-depth view on 24-25.
Yeah, listen, it's been one of mixed emotions. Obviously, we had an extremely difficult start. We lost our first four, and then we found a wee bit of rhythm and going 12 unbeaten. It was a really good, positive time for the club in terms of what we were looking to do. But I think on reflection, it said at the time, we're never going to get carried away because I've been around football long enough to know how quickly it can change, and quickly it changed after that sort of period of time where we struggled for proper inconsistency. And then sort of from Christmas onwards, it was much the same. We were very inconsistent. Some really good performances in games where we just maybe fell short, particularly against the top six sides. Where performance levels were really good, and we weren't just getting the rub of the green in games and taking the points that I felt we deserved. So, like I said, it's pretty mixed emotions regarding the season. Disappointed, obviously, the way it finished. You know, in the split, when you're kind of looking to try and finish strongly, and we finished the opposite. But disappointed that way. But at the same time, it allows you to sort of re-evaluate and reassess the whole squad that we currently have, and let you know clearly what we need to improve and what we need to fix moving forward for next season.
It had been the first time that winning run you probably had to manage expectations as a manager. Obviously, the season before there wasn't too many runs. Was that difficult to do? And was it almost nearly that run was nearly worse for us going forward because the fishing levels had risen so much?
In terms of managing the group, no, because when you look around the squad with so much experience there and so many players that have already been there and done it, so they looked after the playing side of things. Listen, no matter what you do or no matter where you're working in football, when you're on a really good winning run, you know, expectation levels do change within football clubs, and you fully expect that. And I expected nothing less from our fans. We were getting excited and brilliant, you know, and we were glad that they wore, and we hope that they enjoyed it. But then you always have to kind of be real as to what our expectations were at the start of the season, to where we were. We were punching well above our weight at the time. But at the same time, as a manager, you're kind of hoping that run can go for as long as possible. And when it does come to an end, it's all about the response. So we were disappointed. It ended in the way that it did. I think it was a 1-0 home defeat to Coleraine, which there was very, very little in the game. And I think, you know, Jarvie hits the bar at one stage, but goodness knows what would have happened after that. But listen, it was good. It's give the players a taste of what the showgrounds can be like when you're winning on a regular basis, and that's ultimately what we want to bring to the football club, and we want more winning runs like we had last season, but on a more consistent basis.
Will you be using those highs and those from last year now, taking ahead in the start in the summer, but you'll be using those, I suppose, looking into next season already?
Yeah, totally. Listen, I always look at myself first and foremost before I look at things on the pitch and what I can improve on as a manager, what we can improve on as a coaching staff, and that's before I even look at my playing staff. But yes, we'll use that experience as we did it last year with some of the experiences we had, you know, and we used that to help us this year. So we'll look back again, we'll review, and we'll look to try and take those positive or negative experiences in order to help us improve going into next season. It's been extremely busy in the last 2 weeks, but you expect nothing less as a manager, and we look to try to do everything that we can to move the football club forward and bring the right people in that we feel that can help strengthen us.
Speaking of bringing people in, we have 5 announced last week will be staying with us. Cian Corbally, who came in January, we had Andy Scott this person in the summer, and Dora Robbs now and Calvin McCurry, who were here and different still beforehand. Glad to get those done.
Yeah, listen, you know, what Ballymena have kind of always happened is players have run their contracts down or been allowed to run them down, and they had a good run of form, and then all of a sudden they walk away for free, and other clubs capture us in that. What we want to do is we want to have a core set of players that we feel give us something and give us value throughout the squad, and make sure that we do our best to try and keep those players here and build around that. You know, Cian Corbally came in January, pretty unknown to most people, and he's been exceptional for me come in. So it was a no-brainer to try and get him tied down again. And like I say, just make sure that we look after him as a club, but also the club look after their assets. Josh Carson, who I thought up until maybe Christmas time was absolutely exceptional, considering the circumstances that he played under for the majority of the season, which was really difficult on him personally. And then he got a couple of niggles, but I think Josh has showed that when he's fully fit, what he brings to this team. Donald Rock's the same. Thought Donald was outstanding. He played out of position for vast majority of the first part of the season at right wing back, but he gives you something completely different in midfield with his tenacity and his energy levels. Andy Scott, I thought was incredible all season until he got injured away to Crusaders, and I think from he's been unavailable has showed what he actually brings to the team. So again, they were no-brainers. Calvin McCurry, I think Calvin's probably one of those players that maybe divides opinion, but what that kid gives you on the pitch, his work rate, his effort, his commitment, his determination is absolutely incredible, and I don't think he gets the credit that he deserves, particularly for the work he does off the ball. Yes, that there's things everybody can improve on, but I think what Calvin gives you, again, is something that you don't really appreciate until you don't have him, and you don't have that work ethic that he brings you. So again, he's another one that we've been patient with. We've worked really hard. You know, let's face it, he's only in a year and a half now, and he's settled in really well, and he's looking to kick on. And hopefully this contract extension allows him that wee bit of confidence to do that. With the highs of and the joys of players getting new contracts, there's always difficult conversations to be had, and lows for certain players. We've had conversations with players that in contract and out of contract that they feel want to move on, or we feel that, you know, we maybe need a change, you know, and that will come in the coming days as to who those players are. But again, you know, I would like to share my appreciation to those players that will move on, because they've been absolutely brilliant in how they've represented Ballymena and represented themselves, and we thank them for their time and efforts at the club, and we wish them well moving forward. And like I say, that will come in the next couple of days. The other one to touch on, I think, is Johnny McMurray. Obviously, Johnny's sustained a horrible, horrific injury and rupturing his knee. He's going to be out for a considerable amount of time. But as a football club, we will stick by him, and we will make sure that he gets the rehab that he needs to recover. We'll make sure that we do all we can to help and support him. In that time of rehabilitation with Johnny, you know, I know he's pretty keen to get his coaching badges finished off until a time where, when he does decide to hang the boots up and retire, that he's got the right qualifications that he needs in terms of moving forward into that side of things. So, you know, we'll help and support Johnny as best as we can, you know, and he'll not be a stranger about the place. He's very well thought of and very well respected within the squad. But regarding playing time or anything like that, you know, Johnny's time at the club has, for the players' perspective, has probably come to an end. But like I say, we'll make sure that we look after him in terms of his rehab at the club, and we'll facilitate that as best we can, as well as trying to help him gain those coaching badges that he needs for further down the line in his career.
Are you anticipating a busy summer ins and outs? I know it's 30 days, but contracts sorted to an extent to free up time now to kind of improve the squad?
Yes, listen, we've been having a number of conversations with different players, and that will take time because, you know, like I say, this season's not officially over as of yet. But there's certain players that will be out of contract or coming out of contract at clubs, and, you know, we need to wait and see too what sort of reactions come and go when that starts happening. But we've spoke to 3 or 4 different players in the meantime. We have potentially 2, hopefully, ready to come over the line. And like I said, it'll be a busy couple of weeks now, busy couple of months until we're back in again in late June. But we would imagine that, yeah, there does need to be freshness about the place. We do need that wee bit more quality and a wee bit more of experience in certain areas of the pitch. So we do expect a number of players to come in over the next couple of weeks.
You touched on yourself personally a few minutes ago. It's a different role now for you about the field, maybe not in your absolute managerial role. How do you anticipate your summer will change in your role now with the new contract?
Like I say, it's been busy. First and foremost, I'm very, very grateful for the club to give me the position that they've given me. Not only, obviously, my first managerial job, but then to look to the vision of where the football club want to go, and obviously get into a full-time role now. It's given me a bit of confidence but also with the new role and the certain changes that we're looking to try and make within the football club from the very bottom right to the top, where we need to try and put a structure in place right the whole way through from grassroots football in the academy right through the first team level. And we'll be looking to put that structure in place over again the next coming weeks. There's been a lot of talk and a lot of conversations had with people from the reserve level right down to the bottom. And we'll look to try and put those into place in the coming weeks. Again, we're trying to, the club in itself, along with me and my staff, we're trying to bring that level of professionalism up again. And there's going to be a lot of improvements that you'll see in and around the showgrounds, both facilities wise and also obviously with regards to our training methods, different things that we're looking to carry out come pre-season. And then obviously with the players coming in as well, hopefully adds that wee bit more professionalism to the club. But like I say, I'm very, very grateful for the position that I'm in. The backing that I've received from day one, the fans have been absolutely outstanding, and I think that's probably the next thing we're going to touch on is the support that they've given us. When I look back to this time last year when we narrowly stayed in the league, and the backing that we received that night till the turnout when we hit that really good run of form at the start of the season, and there was no better place to come to than the showgrounds, and even the away support that we had was incredible. And we want that more often. We want that as often as possible, and we want to fill the showgrounds as much and as best as we possibly can. So the only way to do that is by recruiting the right people and putting performances right on the pitch and getting results. So, I do understand that ultimately my job is to get results for a football club. And in order to do that, we need to recruit certain types of players, exciting players, and therefore try and get a wee bit more consistency in our league form.
Let's touch on the fans there. How important is it? Because I think some people sometimes think it maybe as a bit of a cliche to go through the fans, but we have seen the showgrounds fill last year for the playoff, as you say. We have seen it pretty full for that good run of form as well. And it doesn't mean a lot to shout about outside of that. Yeah, perhaps people have still came and here we commit so that they have something that they want to come and watch every week.
Definitely. Listen, we look every season when we're assessing our season, and from last year to this year, there's been significant improvement. I think there was a 19-point swing compared to last year. And I know some people are maybe thinking that, well, it couldn't have got much worse than what it was the year before, but a 19-point swings is massive. Or goals for, I think, was 62% increase. And then goals against was a 39% decrease. So there's been successes for as little as people maybe want to look into. But when you look at the whole statistics side of things, there's been a massive increase in goals, points, and a decrease in goals against, which is huge for any sort of team, especially a manager looking to build a team moving forward. But then when you look at it sort of from a supporter's perspective, there's almost a 20% increase in crowds this year at the showgrounds, which is incredible. And if we could get that again next season, it would be even bigger for the club, because ultimately the more people we get coming through the turnstiles, the more backing the players get. Obviously, the more that allows us to compete financially with the full-time clubs, because, listen, there's a massive, massive gap out there, and I know there's a lot of talking on about budgets, this and that and the other, but ultimately when we're working off the budget that we're working off and the performance that we have got, for in and around the budgets, we're probably where we should be budget-wise, but that doesn't mean anything to the supporters, with all due respect, as they just demand victories, and I appreciate that and I get that. That's up to me to make sure that I recruit and me and the staff recruit the right people in order to drive results. And again, to improve next season, because ultimately that's the aim, is to get more improvement. And like I say, we ask the supporters to get behind us again, because they have done from day one. Yes, you're always going to get criticism. That's part and parcel of football, and I fully expect that. And I'm not silly enough to realise that it doesn't go on. I'm fully well aware of it, but I can rest assured that, and reassure supporters that there's no one working as hard as me and the backroom staff, and we'll do absolutely everything we can to make this football club a success. Is it going to happen overnight? No, it's not. But we will do everything we can in our power to make sure that Ballymena are a success both on and off the pitch. And like I say, we ask the supporters to be patient, but we ask them to come and back us in their numbers, and they get behind the flares and look to try and kick the club on, because like you say, we're starting to get a big divide now between the full-time clubs and the part-time clubs. And that's up to us to try and bridge that gap as best we can. And like I say, with the back and the supporters, hopefully we can do as best as we can.
Good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.